Over the next several days, you are going to hear a number of stories. Some of these stories may be familiar to you, and some may be brand new stories that you have never heard before. While we are working on these stories, we are going to figure out and identify the author, the illustrator, and what the title of the page of the book looks like, and what role the author and illustrator do. We will define and describe words that are commonly used while talking about stories. Stories are often created from people's imaginations, such as made-up stories are called fiction stories. Characters in the story is who the story is about. Characters can be people or animals in the story. Most of the characters in the stories in this unit are animals that can talk. The plot of a story is what happens in the beginning, middle, and end of the story. A plot includes the major events of a story. The setting of a story is where a story takes place. For example, the setting of a story about students might be at a school. Today, you are going to listen to a story called Chicken Little, in which the main character, Chicken Little, makes a silly mistake and becomes scared. Listen carefully to the story to find out what silly mistake Chicken Little makes and why it makes her scared. Remember, this story is fiction, meaning it is made up and cannot really happen. This story is also considered a fairy tale, and so fairy tales may have different versions. So you may have heard this story, Chicken Little, before, but our version may be a little bit different than your version. One fine morning, Chicken Little went out to the woods. As she walked along, an acorn fell on her head. Chicken Little was a silly little chicken, and she often made silly mistakes. Chicken Little thought the acorn was a part of the sky. Chicken Little was so caught by surprise that she worked herself into a tizzy. "Oh, dear me!" she cried. "The sky is falling! I must go and tell the king." What does Chicken Little think is part of the sky? Did you say the acorn, that she thinks the acorn is part of the sky? An acorn is a seed of an oak tree. Is an acorn part of the sky? Did you say no? I hope you said no. On her way to see the king, Chicken Little met Henny Penny. "Henny Penny, the sky is falling!" cried Chicken Little. "How do you know?" asked Henny Penny. "A piece of it fell on my poor head," said Chicken Little, rubbing her poor little noggin with the memory of it. The word piece means a small part of something. "Then let us go and tell the king," said Henny Penny, who now felt quite worried as well. Is the sky really falling? No. Why does Henny Penny think it is? Did you say because Chicken Little told Henny Penny that it was falling? So Henny Penny and Chicken Little ran along until they met Goosey Lucy. "Goosey Lucy, the sky is falling!" cried Henny Penny. "How do you know?" asked Goosey Lucy. A piece of it fell on my poor head, said Chicken Little. Goosey Lucy looked at Henny Penny, who nodded in agreement. Then let us go and tell the king, said Goosey Lucy, who could not but believe her friends. So Goosey Lucy, Henny Penny, and Chicken Little hurried along until they met Ducky Lucky. Ducky Lucky, the sky is falling, cried Goosey Lucy. Well, how do you know? Asked Ducky Lucky. A piece of it fell on my poor head, said Chicken Little. Henny Penny and Goosey Lucy stood there, with their heads wide-eyed next to Chicken Little. Ducky Lucky looked at her three friends and became worried because they were worried. Then let us go and tell the king, said Ducky Lucky. So Ducky Lucky, Goosey Lucy, Henny Penny, and Chicken Little ran along until they met their friend Turkey Lurkey, who was certainly the biggest of the birds. Turkey Lurkey, the sky is falling, cried Ducky Lucky. Well, how do you know? Asked Turkey Lurkey. A piece of it fell on my poor head, said Chicken Little. Henny Penny, Goosey Lucy, and Ducky Lucky stood behind Chicken Little, flapping their wings with worry. Then let us go and tell the king, said Turkey Lurkey. For who was he to disagree with four scared friends? So the five feathered friends ran along until they met Foxy Loxy. Foxy Loxy, the sky is falling, cried Turkey Lurkey. Oh, is that so? Said sly Foxy Loxy, who knew better, but pretended to believe the five trembling birds. The word sly means sneaky in a secretive and clever way. If the sky is falling, you'd better keep safe in my den, and I will go and tell the king for you. The den is the fox's home. Do you think they should go into the fox's den? Did you say no? So Chicken Little, Henny Penny, Goosey Lucy, Ducky Lucky, and Turkey Lurkey followed Foxy Loxy into his den. The dust in the den made Chicken Little sneeze. Achoo! The force of the sneeze made Chicken Little come back to her senses. This means that Chicken Little stopped being silly, thought carefully about where she was and what she was doing. Wait! Cried Chicken Little. Birds are supposed to stay away from foxes. Henny Penny, Goosey Lucy, Ducky Lucky, and Turkey Lurkey looked at each other in amazement. You're right, they cried. And so the five feathered friends ran out of the cave and never went back there again. And from that day on, they thought very carefully before believing that the sky was falling again. Did a piece of the sky really fall on Chicken Little's head? Did you tell me no? If you did, you were correct. What did fall on Chicken Little's head? Did you say the word acorn? If you did, you were listening to the details in the story. An acorn fell on Chicken Little's head. Who is the main character in the story? Did you say Chicken Little? Chicken Little is the main character in the story. So what is a character? Did you tell me that a character is a person or talking animal in a story? If you did, you remembered from our introduction. What happens in the story? What are the events or the details? Some of you may responded that an acorn falls on Chicken Little's head, or Chicken Little thinks the acorn is a piece of the sky. Chicken Little tells others that the sky is falling. Foxy Loxy tries to trick the animals that believe the sky is falling. The animals get away from Foxy Loxy. The events are also the main plot or the points in the story. Does Foxy Loxy believe the sky is falling? Did you say no? Foxy Loxy does not believe the sky is falling, but he pretends he does in order to trick the other animals. What kind of animal is Foxy Loxy? Did you say a fox? Foxy Loxy is a sly fox. Who in the story believes Chicken Little? Did you say Henny Penny? Goosey Lucy? Ducky Lucky? Turkey Lurkey? Those are all Chicken Little's friends who believed her when she said the sky was falling. Remember that Chicken Little is made up and created from a writer's imagination. Made-up stories are called fiction. Which part of the story tell you that Chicken Little is fiction or made up? Did you tell me that animals can't talk? Or that the sky can't actually fall? Those are all examples of how we know that this story is fiction.